friends, I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm Nikki of Nikki Hearts Cards, and this is my channel. Today I'm participating in a hop with Altenew, and that means that you have a chance to win prizes. So make sure you check the description for the links to the next person in the hop. What we're going to be looking at is adding 3D elements to your card. So we're going to use lots of different ways to really make your cards bold, stand out, and look 3D. Now I'll be using a lot of brand new products from the November release, so you'll get to see those up close as well. Make sure if you haven't done it that you hit the like and subscribe on my channel and leave me a comment so that you can be entered for a chance at a giveaway. I'm going to be focusing on my favorite things from the release, which are these classic greetings, the timeless sentiments, and the Whimsy Motif 3D embossing folder with stencils. Most of the time when I'm using an embossing folder and a stencil, I tend to stencil the image and then emboss it, but this one I decided to do backwards. So I am going to go ahead and emboss the image, then I'm going to use the stencil over it, and there's a reason that I wanted to do this. I knew I was going to color in my stenciled area, but I wanted to create a background for it as well with some light color versus bright white. So I decided that I would go ahead and emboss the image, and then now we're going to ink blend it. I'm using sea glass and the large blending brush, and I'm just going to lay down some base color, okay? This is going to get some color on that background as well, and I'm just going to make it all over the flowers and kind of slightly around them. It's a little hard to see this in pictures, but it gives that background just that light blue teal look to it and helps with it not being just such a stark white. Now I can put down my stencil using my stamp wheel to stick it down, and I'm grabbing this detailed brush. I'm using the same color, so this is still sea glass, and I'm just going in and creating some darker areas towards the outside of each of the petals. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just adding a little bit of different color there so that we're going to see these highlights and shadows. Let me show you what a difference this makes. Look at how those petals just stand out more with that little bit of darkening of the sea glass. So that was using that detailed brush. Now I'm going to put the same stencil back on because I do want to do one more layer of color to give this just extra little depth. Now we're going to use Ocean Waves, which is the next color in this color family. So it's just a little bit darker than that sea glass, and I'm going to use that same detailed brush and go very slightly along the edge just to darken it. I don't want to go in as far as I did with the last one, so I'm just barely dragging it across the edge. I'm going to zoom in and show you. So here it is, just showing you a little bit of difference right there and just trying to drag it right along the edge of the stencil to create some more darkness right there, or I guess depth, whatever. It just really makes that bolder. The last step to give this just an extra pop is to take this dusk, and this is the third darkest color, and seriously just a teeny line around. I'm using this flat brush because it's easier to make that tiny line, but I just like how bold it makes them. You could stop at any of these layers and your flower is going to look amazing, but let me show you what happens when you add this super dark color to the edge. I'm going to zoom closer so you can see how I'm just kind of going along the edge there with this flat brush. You could do this with a detail brush as well, but it just gives it a little bit more depth. I love it. And here's how this looks. So this is all I'm going to do for this first layer stencil, but we still have other petals to do, and we're going to go in and finish those. Since we've talked about the technique, I'm just going to show you the reveals. This is after the second layer stencil. Here it is after the third layer. So this is all the petals. They're done. Now you could leave the leaves this way, but I'm going to add a little color to the leaves. So here's a little secret I use when I'm creating a monochromatic card like this. I like to use that same color family, but I started with sea glass on the petals and went up to dusk. And on these, not on the like flower petals, on the actual leaves, I'm going to start with dusk, which is like the third darkest in this set. So I'm going to start with dusk, and then I'm going to highlight with the absolute darkest in this color family, which is called Desert Night. To make it like I'm using 3 colors though, I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a little extra of the dusk to the centers of these petals. So see how I'm just adding a little bit more ink there, and it almost looks like I'm adding another layer of color. So I'm just creating some darkness towards the bottom of each petal, and I'm doing that with the same brush. So you can do that pretty quickly. So you just need a small brush to make sure that you can get this dark color right in the center where you're trying to create your shadow. And so I'm using this flat brush again, but you could use another detail brush. You just need to add carefully because these leaves are a little small. Okay, here's the final reveal. Now remember, we've already run this through our embossing folder, so it's already leveled up. Plus we've added all this detail, which is going to help it look so 3D. So now really all we need is an amazing sentiment, and I'm going to show you what we use. So with sentiments, when in doubt, use glitter paper. I mean, especially when you don't have a whole lot of glittery other things on there. I love these little pre-cut Altenew strips because you really only need a small amount and they are so glittery. I decided that I wanted to do a navy backdrop to this, so I'm going to use silver for my die cut. And so that the matting will match, I did navy behind hugs, which I love that these come with a shadow. I'm going to place the hugs on there, and then I'm going to use the thinking of you as some small lettering from the other set called Timeless Sentiments. So let me show you this up close in a couple of photos so you can see. I just love how this card turned out. Now I'm going to take you through another quick card using the Honeycomb Daisies cover die. So this detailed die is amazing. It's got some stitching type details and it cuts out these little daisies, which looks great. I'm going to keep mine simple and I'm going to cut it out of white and back it with white. And by doing that, I will create just some depth. So here's how it looks. I put white on it. I'm going to also mat it on black. So for the focal piece of this card, I'm going to use an older set called Painted Butterflies. This is one of my favorite Altenew sets, and it has layered stamps for butterflies with dies. So I'm just going to pick one of the butterflies that I like, and we're going to layer stamp it. One of the nice things about this set is that the layered images are not exact, so you can get them close, but they're supposed to have kind of that watercolor painted effect. So if they're not perfectly in the lines, that's so easy. And you can tell that I'm using a scrap piece that I've already cut the large word friend out of, and that is because I am going to layer that as part of the front of this card, and I'd already cut those two words. And I like using my ink blending brushes to apply the ink. Sometimes I feel like that gives me just a lighter look, and I really like it. Here's how it looks. I'll get that pressed down. I do love this Altenew stamp wheel. It is so easy to do layered stamps. So let's look. See how that is not perfectly in the lines, but it's not supposed to be. Now let's add our second layer, and these only have a couple of layers to them. So I'm adding the detail layer, which I'm going to stamp in Dusk, which is the next color. So the first one that we did was Ocean Waves. This one is going to be Dusk, and it's just going to give that butterfly the cutest little detail, and he's going to be the main focal point of this card. So just stamping those. And remember with Altenew inks too, they go on a little bit darker than what they end up being when they dry. So it may look like these two colors are just really far apart, but they really do even themselves out and look amazing. So I die cut this butterfly and an extra white piece just to give it some bulk on the card. I love having a lot of dimension on the card. And I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to stack up my sentiment friend. So once I stack up these, I'm going to put them on a black background, and that comes from the Timeless Sentiments. It's the shadow and the word. And then the You Are Awesome comes from the Painted Butterfly stamp set, and I just put that right under there. You could just leave it friend, but I just thought adding that little extra is just so cute. I would love to get a card like this. So don't forget to hop along to the next video in this. You need to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to everybody for a chance to win prizes from Altenew. I hope you loved adding these 3D elements to cards to really make your cards stand out. I think this is a lot of fun. You can do this with supplies that you have or lots of awesome products from the new Altenew release. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye!